For our next session, we're changing gears a little bit, and we're going to turn the program over to Jessica Newman. She is the Benefits Administrator at Swift & Staley and the owner of Advantage Insurance Services here in Paducah, who will be our moderator. She is also on the Chamber Board of Directors and serves as our Vice Chair of Small Business. Please welcome Jessica Newman.
Thank you, Sandra. And yes, for those of you who have not seen my shoes, yes. Okay, so now that's done. I just want to see who in the room really enjoyed Coach Colleen. Right? I mean, we are all visionaries. We're in the future now. Okay, that's good. That's good. Oh, and then, yeah. Then we're going to be fierce like Sarah. I like the So I get the distinct pleasure and honor to introducing you all to Miss Elizabeth McCoy. For those of you who don't know who that is, she was honored with the 2023 Woman of the Year from the Kentucky Chamber this past summer. I know. Not only is she the Woman of the Year, she's the CEO of Planters Bank in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Elizabeth McCoy. Thank you. Elizabeth, welcome to Paducah.
Hello. Oh, thanks. Red, you don't know, it's green, red. Thank you for having me. And I want to start out by saying, I know you're going to ask me questions, but Sandra Wilson and I have been friends for, I don't know, a long, long time, and I feel honored that she would have invited me, and thank you all for being here. I do not own one thing pink, so I apologize for no pink today, but I'm an autumn, so I wear red or orange.
Okay, but can y'all see her shoes? Okay. She still brought it. She brought it. She brought it with the shoes. So, Elizabeth, let me congratulate you directly for the 2023 Women of the Year from the Kentucky Chamber Award. Such a prestigious honor. But what I want to know is, how did that make you feel to win that award?
So, you've heard of imposter syndrome, so I said, this is what imposter syndrome looks like. It was totally overwhelming. I even wrote Sandra Wilson a thank you note afterwards, as she was a big advocate for me, and I appreciate it. I feel way unworthy. I just get up and do what I do every day, and I don't think about myself in that kind of light. So it was very, very appreciated.
I think that's probably why you won that award. You are strongly committed to your local community, but also state and national level community involvement. So I'm going to hit a few highlights, and then we're going to expand on some of these. So Elizabeth is a certified public accountant, currently the CEO of Planters Bank in Hopkinsville, where she's lived for many years with her husband Hal and her son Griffin. You're no stranger to community involvement with many of these local organizations that have been focused on the arts and economic development. You also serve on the board of the Federal Reserve Bank out of St. Louis. You're a University of Kentucky board trustee. Where's my Cats fans?
Come on,
Go
people.
Cats! Okay. Of all the boards you currently serve on, which is your favorite?
So that's super hard. First of all, let me say, I love Chamber of Commerce work. I love Chamber of Commerce work. I've been involved with my local Chamber of Commerce. I've traveled the state to dozens and dozens of local chambers of commerce when I served as chair of the chamber. I believe in what the Chamber of Commerce does. I believe in small business. I believe in representing and working hard for your community. I believe in everything that a Chamber of Commerce works for. And serving as the chair, I've served as chair of our local chamber, of course, many years ago, and that really encouraged me to get involved in state Chamber of Commerce work, and then that springboarded me to many other opportunities that I've had. So I love what a Chamber of Commerce does. So I've always enjoyed Chamber of Commerce work. I love the University of Kentucky, unbelievably so, although I did serve a term on Murray State's board many years ago, so I'm a big believer in what regional universities do too. In fact, I'm a believer in higher education in general. and I've spent a lot of time working in and around higher education. So I enjoy that, and then I believe in what my industry does. So I've been involved with the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. I'm finishing up my second term there. That's a term limited situation. And your own Paducah people, hopefully when the election closes, will be taking my spot on that board. There's a community advisory board with the St. Louis Fed, which I served on for a number of years and chaired that. So I've worked for the Federal Reserve for, I don't know, a dozen years or more. So I like that work too. I love economic development work. I love working for my community. So, and for the state in general, I serve on the partnership board for the state economic development cabinet. So I like that work too.
Hard question to answer.
You know, I don't, over a 40-year career, and I've served on some boards that I've enjoyed less than others. So I find that I want to, if I'm going to commit my personal time, I mean, for all you professional people, I feel like I'm turning my back on you. Nobody does my job when I'm not there, so I've still got to go back and do that. So if I'm going to give my time away from my professional job, because I still want to get paid every other Friday when I work, I want to be sure I'm doing it for something that I believe strongly in. So it's easy to turn things away now when I say I don't have that passion for it, and I want to have a passion for what I work for.
That makes sense.
Yep.
So you serve in a predominantly male industry. Has there been a time when you were the only woman at the table or in the room?
Oh yeah, but I'm a lot older than most of the people here. Many times in my early career, especially, and some of you that were in Lexington at the Kentucky Chamber's Women's event heard me tell this story. But we used to have a conference call. There was about 50. I worked for many big banks before I got to my community bank. And I was the only woman on the call every Monday morning. They forget what slow time is, and so it was at 7 o'clock our time. Elizabeth's on the phone. And you want to go, yeah, that's because I'm the only female voice on the phone. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's ridiculous. Why is that even an issue anymore? Nor should it be. So that kind of thing was always just terribly frustrating. But one of those Monday morning calls before the boss was on the phone, somebody made some comment that made me realize, oh my, there's people on this phone call doing exactly my same job. They're getting paid a whole lot more money than I am. And that was what really hurt and really motivates me now to be sure that the people on my team, we pay well at my bank. And that's one of the things I believe in, is rewarding what hard work looks like. And I have more women on my team than I do men. I believe in it all day long. That's an easy choice for me because we can juggle 10 things. I mean, right? Everybody that's married or has a significant other knows that's not the way it is on the other side of the road. So, you give a busy woman something to do, and who's going to get it done? And my husband will still be on the list. When I get home tonight, these are the 3 things I needed. Yeah. What do you bet? Maybe one will be done. I'll have to work on the rest of them tomorrow, or maybe do them myself. Now, I don't want to disparage him. And Sarah Bradley said this when we were in Lexington, when I heard her speak before. For what all these things that I can do, if it wasn't for my family's support, I could not do any of them. My husband's self-employed. He has a lot of flexibility, which allows a lot of kind of things to happen around my house. And so I couldn't do it without my bench, for sure.
I love that, your bench.
Yeah.
Good way to call your family that. It's good. So let's take a trip back in time. Can we go back to your days at good old UK?
Sure.
Okay. You studied accounting and became a CPA. Why?
Yep. That's the story too. I grew up in a small business household. My father owned a business that my brother still runs for our family. I had 2 brothers. Always at the dinner table it was. My dad would always tell us, he loves what he did. He's passed away now, but he loved always what he did, but he always wished that he was a lawyer, had a law degree, and had an accounting degree, because he was beholden so often to people that had to explain things to him. So when I went to UK, I was like, all right, the accounting degree sounds like a good idea. My brother's a lawyer, so he got both of what he looked for over time.
So your dad built a bench too.
Dad built a bench too. But I kept trying to change my major. I was like, I don't really like this that much. And I call home and say, I think I'm going to change my major to like history. And my mother was a school teacher. She's like, that'd be fine. And my dad would go, well, hang on a minute. Now let's think this through. So at the end, they hand me this accounting degree. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do with this thing? So I went back home and I said, maybe I think I'll stay and get an MBA. My dad was like, that'd be great. That's where I met my husband, and that changed everything. So that's what brought me to Western Kentucky from there. And so that's kind of how that worked out. Then I got to a small town. I was like, well, now what am I going to do? So I dusted that thing off and sat for the exam and spent 9 years in public accounting, and there you go.
So you spent 9 years practicing as an accountant.
I did.
So what prompted the leave from accounting to move into the career you have now?
So we did a lot of savings and loan work back in the day. And so I went to work for one of our clients who was being sold to Liberty National Bank, which was the largest independent bank headquartered in the state of Kentucky at the time. And I knew a lot of people there in Louisville, friends from growing up and my family's friends. And so I went to work for them, and then, it turned into 6 banks in 5 years, and I never left my office. And so Planters Bank de novo during that started up from scratch at that point. They had the CEO passed away very unexpectedly at the age 54, 2 years into the bank. And of course, succession planning wasn't something that had even been considered. So they called and asked me if I would be interested in going to work for them. And that's been 23 or 4 years ago. So, yeah. So I love what I do now. It's great.
So that accounting degree still worked out?
Came in handy, yeah. Yep, sure did.
I dare say you may be the only, if not, yeah, I think you may be the only female bank president in Kentucky.
Oh, no, there's a couple of others.
Okay.
Not many.
So who do you go to for counsel or advice? Another bank president?
That's hard.
Okay.
No, so usually my close-knit internal people at the bank, we have a little sort of informal management committee, and we huddle up and, so I'm currently the CEO. The president of the bank is a woman. Our chief credit officer is a woman. Market president in the state of Tennessee is a woman. And we have some real high-level female executives in our firm, so we sort of have a kindred spirit. And it is kind of hard, though. It can be lonely at the top, So you tell people all the time, be careful what you wish for, because all of a sudden you get this office and everything bad that happens comes into the office. It's really not all the good stuff. What I'm getting to do today is fun. If I was at the bank, it maybe wouldn't be as fun. Real problems, My HR person's a woman. I could keep going. My main people are women for sure. I love my guys, but,
Those busy women get it done.
Yeah, exactly.
So then you moved to Hopkinsville. Your husband was from there.
Yes.
Okay. Was it challenging to get involved in that community as a newcomer? Someone might have thought of you as an implant to that area?
That people would probably say the same thing that moved to Paducah, right? So my husband grew up in Hopkinsville, and my in-laws were living at the time. I had one sorority sister, and I vaguely knew somebody else. So I knew 5 people. And so people ask me that sometimes because, in many ways I'm still not from there. So, but I find, and this would be true whether I was new or what I would tell to anybody that was asking me, you just have to raise your hand. Everybody needs good volunteers, and that's a super good place to go. And it's a good way to hone your skills, and it's a good way to work on your leadership skills. And you just got to be there, show up, and do a good job. And then kind of goes from there. It's like being a good friend. You have to be a good friend to have a good friend. Kind of the same sort of thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Will you share why you would encourage someone to take on leadership roles, for example, with an organization like the Kentucky Chamber, or many of the other groups you're associated with?
Why would I? So, to whom much is given, much is required. And I live by that mantra every day. And so that means, we can give of our time, we can give of our talent, or we can give of our money. Some of us can give all of that, and some of us can only give one of those things. But every organization that you'll be involved in needs all of that, whether it's your professional paid place or your volunteer place. So there's always a way to give back to your community that is providing you this opportunity, or to your business or your customers or your church people. I mean, there's just so many ways to give, and I've always felt the need to want to say thank you to the community that helped make my career possible. So that's why I do it. And I think that's why everybody, all 200 or 300 of people that are in this room, should do the very same thing. Everybody needs volunteers. And I do find, and this was true especially when I was younger, don't sit around and wait till somebody calls you, right? They might not ever call you. And you could just be sitting there thinking, I could do that so well. I just raise your hand and go, I'd like to volunteer for that. Almost always it's like, okay, you're in. I mean, you need the volunteers, right? But it's a really good way to meet people, to hone your skills, as I said. It feels like the right thing to do.
So if I was new to Hopkinsville and I want to get involved, my hand's up, I'm ready to go. How do I figure out where to get involved? How do I find out where to go, who to talk to?
Mm-hmm. So I think that depends on the kind of volunteer work that you want to do. I mean, if you're in the business field, the Chamber of Commerce is always an excellent place to go. A lot of people I've seen in their career have volunteered through their church, and that's a good way also. You meet people and you can look outward from your organization and learn that. I don't know, United Way is a super good place. Ours has 18 member agencies. They all need volunteers. So I think just ask a friend. Phone a friend and ask them.
Yeah, sometimes those friends are really important.
Yeah, very.
They know
very,
things.
Very, very. Mm-hmm.
So you're the mother to a teenage son who can relate. Griffin. Now I hear Griffin is a junior in high school and a track star. As a fellow track mom.
Okay, good. I'm just getting the hang of this thing.
The time you will spend.
Yes.
Well, my daughter ran cross country, then also ran track. So we ran around in fields, and then we watched her run in circles from bleachers. That didn't take long, but then you had to wait hours.
It's like
till they run
swimming.
again.
For you all that are swimming mothers, that's what they tell me. He's a triple jumper. 1, 2, 3, jump. 1, 2, 3, jump. 1, 2, 3, jump. Wait 3 hours. Run a 2-minute. Anyway, it's all day. But yeah, thank you for asking about him.
So excited to get a hot dog from the concession stand, right?
You appreciate the parents that are over there cooking all that stuff. So our school's a little bitty, so we don't ever have to host. So I don't ever have to do that work. So that's one thing I don't have to volunteer for.
So that leads me to my question. How do you balance work and staying connected at home? Because it's a challenge.
Yeah. So first of all, just to expand on my story, I've already said I've been married almost 40 years. I have a 16-year-old. I was pregnant when I was 46. So yeah, that's always the reaction for people that don't know. Yeah. So when he was little, and I'd be driving in my driveway and I'm so tired. I cannot do one more thing today. And you walk in the back door, Mom, oh, that's right. Oh, he's going to need a little something else. I remember when my parents had a place in Florida and we were down there for spring break or something or other to visit them. Griffin was probably 5, maybe. And they called and asked me if I would consider serving as the chair of the Chamber of Commerce. And we've been talking about drinking wine at my table up here, by the way. So I'd already had some wine. And I said, well, we're on our way to dinner, and I need to ask my family. So just trying to explain to my son what it was, and my husband was all about it, whatever he's always whatever you want to do. I said, well, it's just for a year. And Griffin said, Mom, we can do anything for a year. He's now 16, and I'm still going to the Chamber of Commerce. So I guess that's what he knows. I mean, he just knows that this is part of what's expected, and we have a youth leadership program. I think you all have a similar program here, and he was in that class last year. And his sweet little essay that he had to write, which they gave me later that I didn't see, was all this kind of work really important to my mom. And that was like, okay, good. At least you notice and you realize how important this is. But the balance thing, I've sat through a lot of conferences like this where everybody tries to tell you, oh, you can have it all and all that. I find some things have to give here and there. And so sometimes I do miss things or something like that. And that kind of hurts, the milestones, as Sarah said earlier. So, but you just have to accept that there's trade-offs. If I would not be the very best stay-at-home mom. So I need to be given out instead of just taking her in. So I feel like my family benefits from it a little bit. And I think it's back to the earlier question. That's part of how I fill up my empty place, is to be able to go and be with people like you all and feel the power from that. And then that helps me get up tomorrow and go, okay, I can do it. Yes, I can.
I love that. On your placemat today, you all will see there's lots of quotes cited. And today, Elizabeth's quote is, my dad always told us, work hard and take all the luck you can get. Okay, tell me a little bit more about where that comes from.
If you don't believe that, you should live by that mantra. So much of what he meant was, if you're working really hard, then you'll create your own luck. So I felt like that's what hard work gets rewarded. And so, but a lot of things in my career, and there has to be timing. So serving as the chair of the Chamber of Commerce, it had to be the right time. It had to be the right time for me, and it had to be the right time for the organization. Being on the board of the Federal Reserve, there's 3 bankers on there, but they go by class size. It covers 8 states. It has to be your year for your size bank. There are things that just have to line up exactly right. But if you've worked hard and tried to line yourself up and put yourself in that position, then a little luck will come your way. Yeah.
So you talked about some challenges in that comment. So I want to know what some of the biggest challenges you faced in your career.
So you touched on some of them earlier, of course, the whole male thing. And, just when I think that's behind us, then I was in a meeting the other day. I was the only woman in the room. I go, what the hey? This cannot be right. And it's so noticeable. So then
Yeah, they don't have great shoes.
No, not at all. That's true. And it was, then you're kind of thinking, maybe I'm just not going to say anything. Well, that's so not me. I have an opinion about pretty much everything. So, but then you get that reputation too. So that's still, I mean, how can that be? I'm 64 years old. How can that still be having this conversation? So you stand on the shoulders of those people that came before you, and hopefully people like Sandra and me and others in the room that have been through this, but we've tried to help pave the way so that the next, you all and the next, and your kids and your daughters, why are we having this conversation still? It's unbelievable to me, right? So that's still a question. I mean, I still have customers that want to deal with some of the guys, and I'm like, really? Who you think's running this show, by the way? Okay, that's fine. I mean, I need the customers, so I'm happy to have you, but it's odd still that is even a thing. So I love that there's professional women, and you setting the example for your son, because that's often where this is coming from, right? So you, the mother, needs to be sure and I want to be sure that my son understands that too. I mean, did everybody have a mother that worked outside the home? Many of you, right? So kind of those days are over too. Everybody's got to work, or everybody wants to work. I've already fessed up to that. So I don't know why that's still a thing. Oh, sorry, I got off the track. Oh, that's the thing.
Oh, I
Right.
think you're right on track, right, ladies? She's right on track.
Frustrating.
It is a big challenge, and gosh, it just makes you realize why we need to stick together
True. That's
because we're still
100%
facing it.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the flip side, we talked about the challenge. Tell me what's been one of your best rewards.
So professionally, you mean, or, personally having a child at 47 is a success beyond anything I could describe.
That's trophy worthy.
Right. So, and he's my greatest joy for sure. And I'm super proud of him. But professionally, I think it's, so any Hamilton fans in here? How many times you've seen the movie? Right? So there's so many, go back and watch the movie and think about it through the lens of leadership and realize how the country was born through powerful leaders. And so when you think about the whole, I want to be in the room where it happens, that's what I want to do now. I feel like I've earned my way where I want to be at the table where the decisions are. And so that can often take a career to get to the place where you can have some influence on what the result is. And I like that. I'm a problem solver by nature, so I like to be where that's happening. And these things that I'm involved in now, that is a position that all of the Federal Reserve, UK, et cetera, are giving me the opportunity to be at that table to help make the decisions. And I like that part of the work a lot.
So we've got a room full of women. I've got some young professionals here today. I want to know what you would recommend to them to help them get to the table.
So a couple things I would say. I overheard some conversations earlier. You need to really desperately get over your fear of public speaking. So this is not my best thing either. You'll get better at it if you do it, but you have to be able to do it. You've got to have some communication skills. The other thing I would say is work on your written word as well as your spoken word. I have some people that I've coached in my career. Your grammar will hold you back professionally. So you need to have listen to me, I'm from way eastern Kentucky, so I'm from the middle of nowhere.
Now, we're not going to get into a match about accents.
Right. So, well, we can only we can only we're in our lane, so we can only do what we can do. But we can not say ain't and this and that and all that kind of thing. So, but your communication skills, that would be the best advice that I think I could give. Your spoken word and your written word will impact your career either in a greatly positive way or it can hold you back. Right? Practice. The written thing's easier now. Everybody got Grammarly. I mean, good Lord. And AI, I guess, is going to write everything for us. I can't even understand that. So I'm old. I don't know. It's good.
So I really enjoyed getting to meet you today.
Thank you.
I didn't get the opportunity this past summer to attend the Kentucky Chambers event. My calendar didn't line up, and it really bothered me. But my friends that came back, have just sung your praises. So I feel so honored that I got the opportunity to sit down with you today, and it's been so fun getting to know you. But I noticed that when Sarah was talking, she asked the question, raise your hand if you've never been to the Freight House. But you raised your hand.
I haven't been to the Freight House. It's a confession. I'm sorry.
Well, we want to change that today.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, fantastic. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I love it. Perfect.
So we can't stand the idea that you've not been.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
But besides that, it'll give you a reason to come back to Paducah and bring Hal and Griffin.
We'll be here for track. My son also plays soccer, so I come to Paducah fairly often. I just got to add an hour on the front end or the back end of one of those trips.
Build more than an hour.
Yeah.
It's an experience.
Well, I know, but as you know, you'll be here for several hours. And it could drop him off extra hour early.
You could just drop him off and y'all could go eat.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Works out great.
Just tell Griffin you'll catch up later at the track meet.
He's used to it.
Well, it's been our pleasure to have you.
Thank
and
you
we really do wish you to
for
come
inviting
back.
me. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So now I get the distinct pleasure to turn over this moderator role to Miss Katie Englert. If you all don't know Miss Katie, she is the owner of Compass Counseling and our resident chicken salad chick. We love chicken salad chick. Katie is the Paducah Chamber's 2023 board chair-elect and will step into the role as chair in January. Please welcome Katie.
Thank you, Jessica. So hasn't today been a great day? I have been participating in EmpowerHer, I believe, since the beginning, and it's just really phenomenal to see all the tables full, for there to be 100 more ladies in here this year. But right now, I have a treat for you. So, get ready. So over the past few years, since living and working in Paducah, I've had the chance to get to know Whitney Denson and Sandra Wilson. So I first met Whitney whenever she and I were playing tennis in this little tennis league where you would play tennis for about an hour. There's a couple of you in the room that I think participated in this with us. You would play tennis for a little bit and then you would go out to eat afterwards. So it was like real exciting. And so, I mean, this has been a long time ago. So when I think about that, Whitney's a little younger than me, but I can remember two things really vividly about meeting her at that time. One was that she was very pregnant, and it made me really, really nervous that she was playing tennis like that. The second was, I remember...
Made him scared of me.
I was terrified. So after we would go out to eat, and I can remember her grabbing another participant's phone, and he was online dating at the time, and I can remember she grabbed his phone on his dating app and started told him he was making bad decisions, and started swiping for him, and I thought it was hilarious, and I was like, okay, me and her are going to be friends for a long time.
He's still not married. Should have just let him go with it.
Yeah, you should have just kept that. You should have just kept that for him. So I did. I thought that was so funny. So fast forward a little bit, I started to get involved as a member of the chamber, and I started to get to know Sandra. And if you know Sandra, you get to know how she has boundless energy and her drive and her passion for what she does. And I just really admired her, and I was like, how can this woman get so much done with like the same amount of time that I have? And she just loves this town, and I was just kind of in awe of her. And so it's just been a real joy as I have volunteered for the chamber to get to know her and learn from her over the past few years. And I just really respect her, and that grows every day. And she gets things done for a town our size that seem a little bit impossible sometimes. And I'm like, okay, she's got great leadership skills, and I love that about her. So I know the two of them as Whitney and Sandra, and then I know them as Whitney and Sandra. And some of you all may not know them as Whitney and Sandra, but I know a lot of you in the room do. So they're phenomenal on their own, but today I hope that you get to know them a little bit together like I know them, because there's just something about hearing them talk, and we have a group of friends, and it's like we've been talking about it for years to try to get them both on stage together. But there's just something so familiar and hilarious about being around them, and so we just kind of wanted to end the day on a high note. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to play a little game, and I'm going to give you all a glimpse into getting to know the two of them like I know the two of them. And a lot of times as women, our first sense of empowerment comes from our mother. So that relationship is just something that a lot of us can identify with. So are you all ready?
No.
Do you want to say anything before we start the game? You want to respond?
I must have had some wine when we agreed to this, but here it goes.
Well, you look fabulous, so it's fine.
Thanks. We coordinated.
Yeah, we coordinate enough, okay.
Because
Yeah,
if we hadn't, I would have just worn something I already had, and that would have made Sandra mad. So we have coordinating new outfits.
And there
Just
you have
a glimpse into how different we are.
That I bought for her.
Still have that card for emergencies.
So here, Katie, I just want to say this. I told Whitney my biggest goal for today is that when we leave here, we're still speaking. Because some of you know me, know that I can let things, I don't know if you know me that well, but I can let things just fester in my head. And so Sunday night I had said, I had said something, and she said, well, you hurt my feelings.
It was about my clothes.
Speaking of,
It was the clothes.
so we usually talk in the morning, and she didn't call Monday morning. And by Monday afternoon, I thought, I might as well just be moving to Florida. She's never going to let me see her children again. I really didn't mean it the way it came out. Why did I even say anything? I don't know why I did that. And I almost called Ed at one point and said, I think we just should go ahead and plan on moving because this is over with us. And she runs in about 1:30 for us to talk about it. And I said, I'm really sorry about last night. She said, about what? I have no idea what you're even talking about. So, we do kind of have that relationship. We push reset. So I don't want to have to push reset too bad today.
We got this.
We'll keep it clean.
Yeah, we'll keep it clean. Okay, are you ready? So this was inspired by like a TikTok game that I've seen people play where they ask questions and it like asks you a question and you have to like say if it was you or her. Have you seen those? Or real, or if you're not TikTok, whatever. So you all have these little paddles that Molly made for us. And so I hope we use them appropriate. So like it's, if it's Sandra, then put Sandra. If it's Whitney, put W, okay?
We don't know what these questions are either.
Here we go. You ready? Okay. Who apologizes first?
Clearly, neither of us.
We just push reset and go on.
Moving on. And sometimes that's just okay.
It is
Reset.
okay.
All right. Next
I've only
question.
hung up on her like a couple of times.
Remember that time? Can we share that one story?
Yeah. Rock it out.
So she's in college. She's with her now husband. They're going to Texas to see his uncle. And we do kind of get in a fight on the phone. I forgot what it was even about. But we did kind of hang up on each other. And I think we found out later, she had turned to Chase and said, I don't know why my mother's like that. And I had turned to Ed and said, I don't know why my daughter is like that. And both guys had said, because you're just alike.
Yeah. Just alike.
Happens.
Happens.
Yep.
So we
All
don't
right.
really apologize.
Yeah, we
Moral of
don't,
that
yeah.
story.
Nobody's a good apologizer.
That's right.
Okay. Who's messier?
Except for my office,
Yeah,
maybe.
me. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Who has the bigger shopping addiction?
Thank God. I benefit from it a lot. Yeah.
Who is more adventurous?
Oh.
She was terrified when I flew to Africa that I'd get blood clots on the way over there on the plane. I'm like, what? Where do you come up with these things?
Well, remember that time in D.C.?
Oh, yes. In D.C., how many people have ridden the scooters that you rent? Okay, so I did
Well,
that.
raise your hands if you really
Yeah.
have. Are you guys
Oh, my gosh, look at this.
Are you guys mothers
Look
or
at all these
what?
hands.
Yes. So I ride that scooter for several hours, and I get back into the hotel, have had the time of my life, and she looked at me and she goes, you are a mother. Yes. Still here, I'm still a mother. Yes, I am. She could not believe I jeopardized my entire family's future by getting on one of those scooters. So, yes, definitely the more adventurous right here.
All right. I think I know the answer to this one. Who is more affectionate?
Oh. How many of you guys have been hugged by Sandra? Nope. Reset.
Reset. I heard it.
Let me just say that I'm going to leave this party early. I will be standing at the courtroom door, and I'm going to give everybody that walks in the biggest hug you've ever had in your life.
And then
by
she
the
will
way,
sanitize her hands.
sanitize your hands, take a breath mint, and
Tic Tac, not gum.
yeah, Tic Tac, no gum.
No gum
And then
ever.
we do have some more openings at the courtroom. So if you're thinking now about, are they ever going to end and what am I going to do later?
You're gonna go
there are
drink.
some more openings if you want to come to the courtroom for the after party.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. And let me just introduce Brent Hausman, who's the one man that was brave enough to come back here. I don't think I gave him a proper introduction earlier. He's the chair of the board this year and a senior vice president financial advisor at Baird, and my current boss, one of my current bosses. I have two bosses. You can talk about the other one later.
You are going off on the edge.
Well,
Oh, okay. I'm
you
sorry.
didn't warn him that you would
We got a
remember
lot
if
of
he
time to
wasn't
fill.
here.
No, I'm kidding.
So, I mean, you warned him if he wasn't here, you would remember. So, I mean, there's that. 7 times. Okay. Okay, next question. Who has traveled more?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Thank you. Goodbye. Next question.
Who is more sarcastic?
Oh. What? You think? You?
I think I'm very sarcastic. I mean, when I was up here doing some entertainment about my pants, some of you weren't even laughing. Now, I was really trying to be funny, sarcastic, funny. And I did look, and I thought, I mean, Leslie did. Thank you, Leslie, for my really cute pants. So I think I think I'm kind of sarcastic, but I don't think everybody gets my humor either. I just think it's funny myself.
All right. Who's more girly?
Maybe.
You. Me? Really?
Describe girly.
Oh, no. It's not that deep. So we'll just move on.
Moving on.
You're asking the questions.
Who goes out more?
Yeah. Yeah. I swear I went to college and this woman found a social life. Like, all those years of sitting at dance competitions, she was ready.
Who is the best cook?
Oh, 100%. Now, best cook in that this woman is so proud of me. She will call me. She'll say, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm cooking dinner." "What are you having?" "Hamburger helper." You are just such a Susie homemaker. I'm so proud of you. I'm like, I am literally feeding my children toxins, and you are so proud of me for cooking my weekly hamburger helper. Thank you. I mean, it really doesn't take much to impress her.
Well, growing up, though, some of the, I mean, I don't really cook, and I'm just going to put it out there. Coach Colleen said she didn't cook either. So there's
be
really
successful and not
not
cook.
that big of a deal. But I don't cook, and when she was growing up, I didn't really cook. And we both she turned out okay. And, and it's okay to not cook because there are a lot of nice restaurants in Paducah. We've heard about one today. And can I share a story?
Please.
That was a rumor about me. So let's just go and put this out there. It's not a rumor. Because you guys know I have a dual life, and I'm also a city commissioner. So every other year, I have to be running for office, and you have to sometimes do political forums, which I am not comfortable with. Even though I stand up and speak in front of you at a chamber breakfast or other events, I'm still like, hyperventilating before I go in. And I go blowing in one year, and this lady meets me at the door, and she said, "Sandra, I just have to ask you, I've heard a rumor about you." I mean, can you imagine what's going through my mind? Like, what have I done lately? I don't think it's been on Facebook. I don't know. I did go to a toga party one time in college. That wasn't Facebook. I mean, all of that. Within about a 15-second period of time was going through my mind, like, what in the world could this possibly be? And she says, "I have heard that you don't cook." And I had a one-liner that came to me very quickly. I just said, "Oh, that's not a rumor, that's the truth." And I just kind of walked on in, and then I had to regather my thoughts about serious stuff because I don't think you have to cook. But I admire you, though, you ladies that love to cook.
All the hamburger helper you want. Sandra will be so
I
proud
have tried
of you.
to cook, but I grew up on a dairy farm. My mom's kitchen was her kitchen, but I could drive a tractor. 50 years ago, I was out there on that farm driving the tractor, and it wasn't cooking. So then you go to college and you get a meal ticket. Like, you just walk across the street and get whatever you want to eat. Then I moved to Nashville for a year, and it's like, there's so many restaurants. This is so cool. And I just never
And
have
it
really
never
cooked.
mattered to me growing up because she'll tell the story all the time of when somebody said, "Whitney, do you guys really never eat at home?" And I think I was probably serious as a heart attack. And I said, "Of course we eat at home. A lot of nights we'll stop and we'll pick it up and we'll just take it home and eat it." Like, I didn't care. We were still eating together at various tables all over the city.
We love service station food, too.
And gas station food. Everybody says it's why it took us so long to get COVID. We eat so much gas station food.
We just didn't test either.
This is real. Okay.
5-star.
Yeah, true story. Okay. Next question. Who is more grumpy in the morning?
What? I get up earlier. No,
No, I've been getting up earlier this year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wake up pretty happy, really.
Yeah.
But
She
I don't
also
have two
doesn't
small
have
children.
2 little children to get ready in the morning either.
There's that. Who spends the most?
Oh.
That was easy. Who watches more TV?
Oh. Again, don't know where
yeah.
she finds the time, but she does have her shows.
Well, The Voice. Anybody watching The
Oh, yeah.
Voice? Agree with that? I do
Look,
watch some of
everyone's
the-
like, no, we don't watch The Voice. No, they don't at all. They don't.
I'm telling you, Reba is rocking on The Voice this year. Anybody read her book? Here's my thing also. It's Christmas time, and during this session, my daughter-in-law sent me a text that said, have you got a Christmas list yet? And I thought, does she know where I am and what she is doing? So every year I ask for books. Has anybody read Reba's new book?
Still don't have a Reba crowd out here. No Voice, no Reba books.
No? Okay. Well, I was going to ask for it. Okay, Britney Spears. Should I ask for that one?
Oh, yeah. Read it. Had a book club.
Okay.
It was good.
And there's another one. Is there another woman that's told her story? Barbara Streisand has a new book out. Okay, so if anybody's looking for a gift for me, I love to get those books. I'm just not going to read them.
They're literally stacked up. I literally saw a meme that summarized both of us. It said, I really need a bigger bedside table so I can sit more water and more books. And I'm like, that's us, all the books that we're never going to read.
You mentioned the night water. Does anyone else have night water every night? Okay, good.
Never going to drink it.
Yeah, you're never going to. Well, we do now that you're older, because I'm up and
Mine's more
down
full.
all night long. I have to have a drink of water every time, but there is that song that, we're not going to get into night fever.
No.
The Night
Ashley
Fever
McBride.
song by the Bee Gees, which is my favorite group, rhymes with night water. You know, night water, night water. You
You're
just
not
got to
gonna-
have
yeah.
it. You're not going to drink it.
Yeah.
Never mind.
No.
I'm sorry, it was a sad attempt again at trying to be funny. Have any of y'all heard of the Bee Gees? Have you heard of the song Night Fever? Okay, good. Next time you hear Night Fever, think of it as night water, night water. And night water is taking a glass of water to bed with you every night and putting it beside your bed. My entire family grew up that way. I don't know why Whitney does it, but I guess she saw me do it for all of those years, and so now we always have our night water. Carry on.
There's a drought in the middle of the night.
Yes, in case there's a drought.
Worst case scenario. Okay. Who stays up later?
I don't know. Depends on what kid's staying up
Okay.
and when they get back up.
All right. Who has better fashion?
Well, her, because she shops more,
Thank you, Leslie.
I think.
Who has more FOMO?
Oh, 100%. I think I'm just like.
Do y'all know what
too-
FOMO is? Does everybody know
Yes,
what that is?
that's
Fear of
Sandra.
missing out. Sandra has it.
If y'all get together and you didn't invite me, I'm kind of sad about it.
And I have the majority of my group text messages silenced. I'm like, see you guys on the flip side.
Like, if I'm going to go to the Freight House and I see some of y'all there, I'm going to be thinking, I wonder why they might not have asked me. I mean, they're not really my close friends, but they could be my close friends. I need some new friends. Maybe I'll go over there and meet them, talk to them, ask them if they want to be my new friend.
Who is more prepared?
I think I am. I try.
Day by day, right
Not
now.
today, but I did
Day
try.
by day.
I did try.
Minute by minute.
Who is most likely to go to the store without makeup?
Oh.
She won't even drive from her house to mine without, like, changing out of her pajamas. She's not going anywhere without a full makeup. You went to Walmart like that? Like, it's Walmart. Yes, I went to Walmart like this.
I'm
Yeah.
old. I'm going to wear makeup if I'm going to the I'm probably. Yeah.
And she's
I'm
going to sleep in all of her undergarments in the middle of a storm, just in case her house blows down and she's being interviewed by WPSD in the middle of Whitney Drive. She is going to have those undergarments on.
It's true.
Going to. Yep. And she thinks I'm a flower child because I'm like, that's the first thing I get rid of when I get home. She's sleeping in them.
Now, y'all have all seen those stories where they come into a town and their whole
She doesn't want to
neighborhood's
be the
been
next
wiped
TikTok.
out. And they're roaming around. I am not going to be roaming around without my bra on. I mean, come on. I'm going to be prepared. So, yeah, on a storm night, I'm going to sleep in it, and I'm going to be ready.
She's
And
gonna be ready.
I might not even wash my makeup off that night, just in case. Just in case. I need to look good. And I might
That
just
is
need to
all
say,
100% true.
we're going to rebuild this city. Don't y'all worry. We're all together. We love each other. This is the best city to ever be in, and we're going to rebuild this city.
Yep. She's going to be wearing
Bra
a bra.
on. Camp. So
That
all
also goes to the preparedness.
yeah, that is very prepared.
Brent's finding out more about us
You've
than
heard
he
that
ever
word
knew.
before.
So this kind of reminds me of your quote that you had. I think we're gonna. That's enough questions for now. So I think.
Thank
'cause
you.
Brent's red face. So. That last question reminds me of the quote, and I've heard you say it 100 times. So I'm just gonna ask you to say it. Whitney, what was yours?
The same as hers, because I've heard it my whole life, and it came from my grandmother.
My mom worked on I've said I was on a dairy farm. My mom worked on the dairy farm side by side by my dad. And, but she was always pushing me to go on and do more, to be in the 4-H competition. Ice cream, we all scream for ice cream. And to do those kind of things. But there were certain things she wouldn't let me do. She would not let me drive the tractor for row cropping. You know what that means? Like disking the field or anything. So I'm over here listening to my mom and my dad, and she would be saying that, and I'd be like, okay, I don't really want to either. And then my dad would be saying, Sandra, you need to join FFA because you can show cows longer and you can beat those boys. And I'd be like, yes, I can. So it's just however you want to do it. But she always had her lipstick on when it was time for her to go somewhere.
She was such
And
a
it's,
lady.
you mentioned imposter syndrome. It's such something that I think so many women have. Maybe men have it too, but I don't know that they do. I've never really talked to them about it. Brent's looking at me. I don't know. But it is a true fact that you can have that lack of really self-confidence sometimes. And she pushed me all the time. And I remember at one particular time her saying to me, honey, you just put your lipstick on, throw your shoulders back, and act like you know what you're doing. And I've never forgotten it. I do use it a lot because I always applying lipstick, and I know we're going to get to that too. And I got to Whitney like, you need some color. You got to get some lipstick on, girlfriend. And I just appreciate the fact that, first of all, she was pushing me, but she had the humor about put your lipstick on first. I think that was the first thing that she said.
Love that. And we have a quote in the restroom at Chicken Salad Chick about wouldn't you feel better about lipstick. So that actually made me think, like, in one of our friend groups, Whitney, like, we've been out on trips before and we have had lipstick comparison. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But that made me think of this video that we've shared in I know you shared it with one of our friend groups, that another one of your friend groups shared with you.
Apparently, the shape of my lipstick is very famous.
It
I
is.
was getting this video from several.
From several friend groups. So, Molly, do we have the video that we can share? Okay. So, turn your attention.
Don't miss any of the words.
Yeah, laugh at the end.
Let's all gather around and talk about the woman who uses her lipstick like this. I'm sensing a few things here. She definitely has an abundance of Kohl's cash. Her makeup brushes are filthy dirty. She 1000% pays every bill by check. There's no electronic transfers made at all. I also think we need to get all these women together for a cruise. Royal Caribbean should just host a cruise, and the marketing should be anybody who puts lipstick on like this, let's rip up the dance floor. Open bar, not an option for these women. Chardonnay with ice. This speaks, I have no time to waste in life. I can't even focus on one lip at a time. It's all at the same time on the way out the door. Where are my keys? Where are my keys?
So I thought that was hilarious, and we got a big kick out of it. So if you're here today and you have a purse, so that's going to be most of you, I want you to...
And this includes tinted Vaseline, as we learned from Molly.
I want you to get your lipstick out. I want everybody, if you have a purse with you, I want you to get your lipstick out.
And if you pay by check, get your checkbook out. If you have Kohl's Cash, get your Kohl's Cash out.
If you went
If
on
have
a real
paper
Caribbean
calendar,
cruise in August,
get your
raise
paper
your
calendar
hand.
out. It's on their table. That's on the table.
Okay, so what we're going to do is if you, underneath your placemat, there is a little guide. So we want you to flip those over. And we just want you to take a second, and if you have, and share with your table, just for a quick second, which one of these, go ahead and put that lipstick on now. This is a good time to reapply.
Right.
And just share with your table for a second which one of these personality types are yours. Okay, so we're going to share with you what our lipstick personalities are up here to shape the next generation. I don't do the Coach Colleen clapping, so we're just going to start rolling out up here, okay? So, do we have any? I know we have a 6 because one of my friends in this room is a 6, and I don't know if she'll raise her hand or not. But so it's funny because our friend that's a 6 and our friend that's not a 6, we have a picture of them together, and one day we will share them with you. But I think that I was I a 3 or a 1? I was a 1 or a 3. I can't remember. I was between. Yeah. Because mine's just always the same slant. It's kind of boring.
Do you all think the personalities describe you? Did they?
I don't know how I get to this, honestly.
Okay, Whitney, which one are you?
It's also not very cost efficient because I buy a tube of lipstick. Look at Jessie's
Do y'all
face.
see Whitney's? Can y'all see her lipstick right now?
I literally buy a tube of lipstick and I think it lasts me for like 3 weeks because it gets like this and then it breaks off and then I just go buy another one. I don't know why I haven't learned from my mistakes. I don't know, but this is what my lipstick
Which
looks
one?
like.
So you're a what? A 5 or an 8?
You're
a hybrid.
I'm a lot of those things all mixed up in one.
I'm a 3.
Mm-hmm.
No, I thought Whitney was a 3.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Yeah, she is a 3.
I'm my own number.
She's a one-sided. You weren't really the two-sided.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Sandra?
I think I'm like 4. Like
Look,
4.
I mean, it's honestly.
You can see these lipsticks up here.
I get it from my mama. Yeah, a lot of usage there.
So my favorite thing that she says in the video is that the woman with this kind of lipstick has no time to waste, which I think is hilarious, like making up the time with a lipstick application.
Yeah.
So as women, we're always trying to shape the next generation. And as women, we have unique situations that we find ourselves in, just being professionals and just operating through our day. And I can remember a story that you've told several times, Sandra. Will you mind to share with us the story of when you were in D.C.?
This is shows how something comes full circle, because I've always been a lobbyist. I've always worked in advocacy. So this one year, many years ago, I'm in D.C. and I'm in a meeting with Senator McConnell. And I'm not leading that particular meeting, but in my purse, I can hear my phone going off and going off and going off and going off. So I'm kind of like, slipping it out. And it's Whitney, and she's like called 5 times. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, something really bad has happened at home. And so I excuse myself from the meeting, and I slip out, and I call, and like, Whitney, what is wrong? Do you want to say what it was?
Where are my ballet shoes?
And I'm in the front zipper part of your dance bag. Oh, there they are. Thanks, Mom. And you hear stories like that. I'll never forget hearing Katie Couric talking about preparing to interview the President of the United States, and she's holding her baby while she's reading the notes, and the baby's literally throwing up down her back. And so you never know, though, when things that are going to happen today or then or now today. I hope something that will happen today will come full circle back to you. I see someone putting their lipstick on back there in the back. I'm dying to do that myself, too, right now, to make sure I have on enough. It's going to come back to help someone, to teach someone, to lead someone, to show someone it's just okay to be human. And you just never know. Do you want to finish that story?
Well,
yeah, you want me to go on?
Well, I think, yeah, go ahead.
It came full circle. So obviously every kid expects their mom to answer the phone when they're calling because I needed my ballet shoes. And so it came full circle. Obviously, I am very involved with the chamber, and I go on the D.C. trip now that my mom was probably on at that time. It was one of her many trips to D.C., but it was one of the first times I'd gone on that trip as a participant myself, and we get through all of these insanely impressive meetings that she's leading, and all of the officials know her name, and they're complimenting Paducah and the work that she's done, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And afterwards I grabbed her and I'm like, I am really sorry for all of the time, still as a 35-year-old, that I give you such a hard time because you can't make something or you can't help me with something or my kid's sick and you can't leave and I can't leave. I am really sorry because you were super impressive in there. And no, but it took me 30 years for that moment of realizing now that I'm a mom that she answered the phone. She wasn't not going to. And even though it makes me mad when she answers now and she's like, I don't have time to talk. I'm like, then why did you answer? Call me later. She's like, you'll understand someday. But it took me 30 years to go back to her and say, thank you for all that you've done. You've made such an impact. But I'm also thankful as a mom that she waited 30 years for me to apologize for being impatient a lot of times for her being busy with her career.
You talked about life-work balance. And some people now, you'll hear them say, especially as they get older in their career, put your family first. But a lot of times when they say that, they've already established their career. It is hard. It is really hard to do it all and to have it all. And I feel very fortunate that I frequently had a lot of people. I had a lot of help, but I always had, I paid more in money for drivers for Whitney than almost in high school, because a lot of that time I worked in Wickliffe at Westvaco. So I didn't want her to not be able to go to dance or not be able to go to something. So I don't think that she thought she wasn't first in my life just because I might not have been the one picking her up. So I would just suggest to you, if you're trying to have it all, it's really hard. Surround yourself with good friends that will help you. Give your kids rides, bring them home, and to do all of the things that you need help with. It's okay to ask for help, and sometimes people have a hard time with that. I bet a lot of you do. I mean, I can leave my husband a note, like you said, these 3 things, and he'll say, oh, yeah, I forgot. And I'm like, he said, why didn't you just call me and ask me or something? And I'm just stubborn enough that I don't want to call and ask him. I left you a note and I asked you, you're supposed to do it. And you don't always have to leave. Have a lot of help to help you to get to the point where you want to do. And give yourself a lot of grace that you're not going to be able to do it. Really, when I walked back in that meeting, I was kind of like, I'm sorry. And of course, they all thought, was there a major emergency? I said,
yes.
Well, it was a major emergency in my daughter's life at this particular time. Everything's okay. Thank you. Carry on, Senator McConnell.
And wait those 30 years that it may take your kid to say, thanks for all you did when I was a young child.
Yeah, and I know in our conversations before, we've talked about how the generations see things a little differently, whereas, Sandra, I've heard you talk about before, there was more defined work hours, but you couldn't leave.
Oh, I worked at a paper mill at the manufacturing site. If I wanted to go to her school party, I had to take a vacation. I'll never forget one year, I don't like Halloween. It's probably my least favorite holiday. I did not, and I had limited vacation too because I was pretty early. I didn't take off to go to her Halloween party. I just kind of sent her on and said, have fun. And at the end of the year, it was in preschool, the things that she loved and things that she made her sad, she wrote that it made her sad that I missed her Halloween party.
But again, 30 years later, I thanked her, okay? I thanked her.
But we didn't leave work early. And so if you're old, you're old school like me, you just didn't do it. And I worked with mostly men also at the paper mill. They weren't leaving for those kind of things, really. So it is a struggle for me, and I know my staff probably knows that too. And during COVID, yes, I went into the office every day. That's just my mental mindset, and I try to be understanding. But the other day, this came home because she said, I would rather raise the window downtown and holler out, hey, I'm leaving work early, just want everybody to know, than to have to tell you that I'm leaving work early.
I mean, you left? Or were you finished with all of your work? Where are you going? Does anyone know that you left? Yeah, I'm good.
Are you going to be able to go back to work tomorrow because you left early today?
I don't stand a chance with a parent that grew up working on a dairy farm and working at a manufacturing plant. We see those things different, but in return, I have a cell phone that I have with me at all times. So I honestly feel like I'm never not working. And not that you could just totally leave it at work back then, but there was a little bit more of defined work hours, and now we're totally accessible all the time. So in our view, my generation, we kind of see it as a trade-off to being totally accessible via our cell phones. So, and the freedom is wonderful. I don't miss anything.
We've come a long way. I mean, those of us that are older in the room, I'd dare to say I'm probably right up there as maybe the oldest in the room. We've come a long way in the way we look at things, and isn't that wonderful? And isn't that great? And so I hope, when we talk about how are we shaping the next generation, I hope that we do that. At the paper mill, women for a long prior to me, they had to wear dresses every day. Wear dresses. And Whitney's aunt, when the water was up and the women were having to ride in the back of a truck to get over to their offices in dresses, finally went to the plant manager and said, this is really not working. Is there any way that we could wear pants to work now? And, would any of y'all even know that used to women had to wear a dress to work every day? It's crazy. And it's so wonderful how far we've come. So I'm always like, I hope you guys appreciate it, because a lot of us have fought hard battles for that. And you are fighting hard battles now for the next generation to make it even better for them.
Love that. And so in closing, I know that we have just a few more minutes. Is there anything that you all want to say to each other, or words of encouragement or wisdom that you would like to share with us?
Do we need to reset? No, I'm kidding.
I think you did good.
Well, I would say to her, and I have been trying to say this to other women that I'm in my 11th year of leadership, Paducah, and I get emotional, but I hope that I have done something to encourage you. And, Jessica Torrin the other day, I saw her and I just said, I'm so proud of you. And then I thought later, I hope she knew how I meant that, because I meant it really well, really nicely. And Leanne too, I just said, they both had spoken and I was just so blown away. And I said, I'm just so proud of you. So I would say to that, I'm really proud of you. You're my best friend. And I love you very much.
Well, where do I go from there? No, I think my perspective has just changed so much. As, I was first a career woman that was trying to follow in her shoes. Now I'm a working mom trying to follow in her shoes. And I see now that on hard days, it's going to probably be a while before my kids understand what I'm doing for them. But with Hallie, I hope I'm making her a strong woman. And it resonated so much when you said, I hope Ty sees what a strong mom looks like. And so I think you've set the stage for me and for so many people. And it just took me a while sometimes to realize it, because, we were conceited little kids. But that just needed our ballet slippers. But I think we have so many women in Paducah, just like my mom, who have paved the way for all of our next generation. And we're all just figuring out how to work together. And it's a pleasure to work with my mom side by side all the time.
Well, I hope that you all have enjoyed getting to know Whitney and Sandra, how I do, just a little bit today. And I know, Sandra, you had a quote you wanted to share here to wrap us up.
I really do. Women need other women in their lives who think they are a big deal. No competition, no backhanded comments, no jealousy, no hate, just I love you, I support you, and there is no one else on earth like you kind of energy. And I hope we get that message across to all of you today, that there's no one else like you. You're amazing. Go out there and be empowered and change the world and really do great things. I hope that my legacy, really now as I get older, is that I help shape the future for women. You know, I was the first chairman of the board as a woman for the Chamber of Commerce many years ago, and now we've had multiple women and getting ready to have another one the next 2 years. You know, I was the first woman of GPAD. I'm still waiting on that one. So if you guys can help me with that board, we need to get that. And I know there are some women in their management, in their board, but we really need to push each other. And, you know, I also feel like there are plenty of women that before me that helped set the stage for women to be in leadership roles. Dolly McNutt, Jerry Montgomery a lot, others with the chamber, and I've seen that. And so I just hope that we are doing that for you and that you take advantage of it and you do it for the next generation as well. And I appreciate the women that opened the doors for me. And I also want to say that I appreciate the men who helped open the doors for me and supported me. And it's priceless to have that support of men and women, and especially, you know, those who have supported me. And I had a joke written down here that I'm taking
Laugh,
names.
everyone, okay? Laugh. Or she'll hug you at the poor room.
No, it was kind of like I'm taking names of the men who didn't. But I'm really kind of kidding, but I'm really not. But I really am. I really am, because there have been a lot of men that have supported me throughout the years. It was Dr. Wally Montgomery that came to me and asked me if I would consider being the first woman to be the board chair of the Paducah Chamber. That was a big move for them, and I was pretty young as well at the same time, and I think Whitney was little, and it was like, should I or shouldn't I? So those are always big decisions that you have to make when you're taking leadership roles. But it's hard for me to believe sometimes that we still have boards that have never had a woman chair. Step up there. Let's do it. We can do great things.
And you can be scared and do it too.
You're just going to put your lipstick on, throw your shoulders back, act like you know
Put
what
your
you're
lipstick on, throw your shoulders back, and
You got
just
this.
act like you know what you're doing no matter what.
So what do we need to do to wrap up?
I don't know if I even brought that up here with me.
We got some prizes.
Well, first of all, I'm going to give another plug to all of our sponsors that are listed on the placemat. Thank you so much for stepping up and being a sponsor of this event. Thank you for the table decorations. Thank you to Bluegrass Event Planning. Thank you to Happy Z's for our chairs today. These are pretty comfortable, and I think they're on sale at their store. And happen to do that. We do have a couple of door prizes from Window World that we're going to draw from.
This is it.
Oh, Brent.
Oh, man.
Sandra loves going off script, and so she and I went back and forth. Like, she did say 7 times, "You are coming, right?" And I said, "Sure, I'll be there." "You will stay the whole time, right?" And I said, "No." And then she said, she tried to guilt me. There will be an empty seat at the head table, so maybe that was supposed to get me back. So anyway, I'm here. But you guys, how many of you, this was your first time? I remember seeing the hands earlier. Hold them high.
This is your first time here? Wow.
Did you notice that earlier? Your back was turned earlier. And so I hope you guys see, we do take very, very serious what we do at the Chamber. And we're all about business and we're all about advocacy. And this lady here probably pushed me harder this year than I've been pushed in a long time. She works tirelessly for you, for your community, whichever hat she's wearing, okay, for chamber, for city, for mayor pro tem, for whatever it is. She does that because she loves this place, all right? Molly and Carrie and
Cindy's back there,
Cindy is back there.
Jill's
Oh,
not here.
right in the middle. We did have to leave somebody in the office. So I know we're not supposed to have favorite events. All of them are our favorites. Every ribbon cutting is our favorite. I did notice a little extra energy going into this event. And so, especially if this is your first time here, would you all help me and expressing to them your thanks for the work that they put in to put this event on.
Thank you. Thank you. Should I show you my pants again? Thank you. Thank you, Brent. You've been a big supporter. I said I had 2 bosses, and you mentioned the city Mayor Bray has also been very supportive. And I was wrestling with the Carson Center board. They haven't had a woman, and I had been on their boards really since before it was built. And I just recently did that because actually he stepped up and said, if you want to do it, just do it. I was like, well, I didn't know if I should because of this or whatever. And he said, those are just excuses, just do it. So it's been great to be that, now here I am still leading with the Carson Center. It's a great board to be on. There are so many boards out there that are great. So we're going to wrap up with some door prizes. We have, this is for Window World, and they have 2 swag bags and a really beautiful purse. Yes. Right, Jessica? Yes. Okay. You want to come draw? Okay. Here. You want to draw?
Sure.
How many of you that knew Whitney or knew me didn't know we were mother and daughter? Oh, really?
Now they're like, oh.
It's still fun to be in a meeting and somebody will say, wait, what?
Well, I have to add that because she makes me call her Sandra.
Oh, she does.
If you've ever noticed in any professional setting, she was like, it just sounds so unprofessional when you're like, Mom, 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 Mom. I'm like, well, you're my mom. And she's like, it's Sandra. I'm like, okay. So it's been Sandra ever since.
Well, that happened at Leadership Paducah. And we were at a retreat at Boy Scout camp when we used to go there, and it was 110. And every time I turned around, she was going, Mom, Mom. And finally I said, you're going to have to call me Sandra. And so the rest of the class, then call me Mom.
Yeah. Like, oh, there you go.
Okay.
Brittany Parker.
Swag bag, Brittany Parker. Woohoo! And another swag. Yeah, come on up and get it. I do.
It's Erica Hudson.
Erica Hudson, come on up. Okay, and for the Junie and Burke purse, Patsy Pierce. You got a Junie and Burke purse. Patsy does win a lot. Way to go, Patsy.
Okay, we keep it.
All right, now what? The one from Leopard Jewelry. And then will you bring that bracelet over so that we can open it up? Okay, we're going to use the tickets for Leopard Jewelry, and she just graduated from our small business cohort program. Thank you so much for everything you did. And I'll just call off the last 3 numbers. 007. Does anyone have that? It should be at your table because I think the tickets were just put at the table. You must be present to win. Hey, yay!
Okay.
And putting your ticket back in to be eligible for the grand prize. And I want to show you this grand prize real quick, and then, yeah. We put it back in. We put yours in. So this is the strength bracelet from Michelson's. And I love the saying that it has about it. You are a woman of strength. But there's another saying about it, but I've forgotten now. But it's part of their new line at Michelson's. And I was at a show, and Lewis Michelson and all of them were talking about it. And I went over and said, we have this women's conference coming up, and I'm going to have a really big crowd. That would be great if we had one of those strength bracelets to give. And I want to say thank you to them because these are very, very nicely done, and they're very expensive. So it's the Frida Rothman collection. Okay, who's going to draw?
As if I'm like looking.
And I want to say before we draw for that, because then we're going to go to the cork room, and I have to leave real quick because I'm going to be there giving all of y'all a bear hug. And thank you so much for coming. And if you have ideas for speakers for next year, please let us know. We're always looking for new speaker ideas. We heard Coach Colleen in Lexington. I've heard Elizabeth McCoy many times. And when she won 2023 Kentucky Chamber Woman of the Year, I was like, I want her to come to Paducah. And then we started EmpowerHer with Sarah Bradley and Weta Michael in 2019. And so how great to see how far she's come from then. She had just finished runner-up with Kelsey on that show. I don't have my glasses on, but let me see. 135. This is a really lucky person. And here's the story. Congratulations. Thank you again, and I'll see some of you at the courtroom in about 20 minutes.